Okay. Welcome everybody to Spiritual Events Directory, the Indie Author Interview Series. And my name's Pip Coleman. We're going to be talking to the lovely Jacqui today. And she has written a beautiful book. And I did say I was going to practice your last name. And it's Preugschat.
Yes.
Yes? Jacqui Preugschat.
Well done. Yeah.
When I wrote it down phonetically for myself to make sure that I say it correctly. So, Jacqui, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I look forward to this conversation because we are going to be talking about your beautiful books that you've written and get into some lovely concepts around empowerment and kindness and compassion, which is all wonderful, wonderful stuff for what's happening at the moment. So let's talk about you first. Where did you come from? Like, how did you get into this whole writing game?
Yeah, well, I had ran a girls' art and craft group for about 5 to 6 years, and we did it every 2 weeks, and we did the most beautiful things together, creating just amazing things together, just from everything from designing your own cupcakes and turning it into a high heel shoe.
Yeah.
To woodworking, to leatherwork, to everything and anything. And so I thought, the girls are having so much fun doing this. I want to put it into books. So
Great.
The activities, we've done them all before. They're very simple but very effective. And I thought, well, we'll have a go at writing books, but you have to have a main character then. I thought, okay, the girls, whoever's reading my books can go along with the main character called Tessa. There she is behind me. Yeah. And so Tessa, you do everything with Tessa. So right. She's with you all the way. And so they're activity storybooks.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So stepping back from that, before you started teaching the classes and going and doing these craft classes with the girls, because the Tessa series is all about, girls and activities for girls, but like exploring that whole, that they can do anything and that they can be anyone that they want to be. So there must have been an impetus before you started even teaching the classes to move in that direction. What was it that sort of moved you towards that before you started doing the classes?
Well, I've always been really creative. I was a school teacher and had, a background in musicals and directing choir, and I just loved art so much as well, and loved just being creative. I was always creating and doing things, always.
Yeah.
And I remember being in my grandmother's shop, watching her in the clothes shop, and so I was always doing things out the back, keeping busy, and I made shell belts for her shop and all these things, and so it's always been there really. And so I just love that kind of the creative outlet. I just love it, and always been into it in a lot of areas. So
fantastic. That's great. So the idea of creating the series, I mean, it could have just been one book. I mean, one book was enough for me to manage. I haven't, I'm looking at doing more, but you've decided, obviously children's books are a little bit shorter, but there's a lot of energy and effort that goes into creating a book, no matter what the length of the book is. And obviously there's illustrations and things like that in your book as well. Did you do the writing and the illustrations, or was there a collaborative affair there?
Yeah, I collaborated with my illustrator, Kirsty Camilleri, and so I've never met her actually. She lives in Western Australia, and so I found her through Freelancer, and I explained to her over the phone what I wanted Tessa to look like, and as I was explaining to her, she immediately caught the vision of what I wanted and how I wanted it to look, and explained the concepts behind her, and she came back with Tessa, and I said, that's her. That's exactly. And I just love illustrations. I can just say, make it like this or make it like, she like that, and she knows what I mean. She knows what I want, and so there's hardly any, like editing or corrections there. It's just like, I love it, love it, love it, love it. So it's just so easy, just so easy. So Kirsty does the beautiful illustrations, and
Yeah, you know that it's right when that happens, isn't it? Like that sort of beautiful synchronistic kind of thing that happens when you just get each other. That's so perfect. So what did you want Tessa to look like? Like what was your description of her? How did you want her to be presented?
Well, besides, you know, how I wanted her hair and besides her facial features and the length of her hair and things like that, it was more what was behind Tessa, which was the kindness factor.
Yep.
And the let's give anything a go, you know,
Yep.
like we're just going to go for it type of girl. I'll give it and just do it. And, you know, like giving, especially giving to people as well.
Yep.
You know, Tessa's always giving and she's saying thank you. And so I think that's really important. So it was more of the essence of what she's like as a person,
Yep.
Which I wanted to come through in the book. So she's kind to people and kind to animals, and she's, you know, it's just, and she's going to be very adventurous because up and coming, very adventurous. So she's, you know, every girl really. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. And I remember talking to you before and I said to you, have you had any boys who've been reading the book and giving you feedback? And you had mentioned that there was boys who had been really enjoying the books as well.
Yes, through the Brisbane City Council Libraries, I did a lot of author workshops in 2018 and 2019. And so I did maybe over 200 children, and about a quarter were boys. And which shocked me at the time, and because it was based on tea parties and ballet, and so I was like, oh well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So they came in and did it and had a great time. Thanked me very much, and and there's also mothers who have bought the books for their girls. Their brothers have been joining in doing the activities at home because they've been sending me the pictures. Yep. So I'm thinking, fantastic. That's
yay. So, that's really good. That's so cool. So do you think that down the track you might add in a male character as well as a female character?
Yes, I will be. I will be adding her cousin in. His name's Timothy.
Ah, cool.
Tessa and Timothy. So, yeah, I'll be asking a few questions to my sons to cover Timothy, and they'll best be telling me and give me the input what boys want and what, you know, like what they like to do as well. And so we have a well-rounded characters. Really
fantastic. That's so cool. So in the series at the moment, there's the two books. There's the first book, which is the tea parties and the ballerina one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
gorgeous.
Yep.
And then that one. So that one's obviously all about tea parties and being a ballerina.
Oh, that's how to have a tea party.
How to have a tea party?
Yeah, how to, so you send invitations and then planning food and planning the decorations and getting yourself ready, dress designing, hat design, all sorts of things, bath bombs, and then thank you cards at the end, which are really important.
Great.
And lots of other things, sewing and all sorts of things. And then this one, the ballet one, Leap for Joy and Twirl About, is all based on a ballet performance, and again, it's you know, making invitations, but it's you know, designing tutus, ballet shoes, the 5 steps of ballet for beginners, which is really good, and lip balm and hairstyles and everything like that. So and in each book, a different animal is with Tessa. So the first one, she had her bunny rabbits with her, and then the second one, she has her kitten with her, and the third one, which is coming, has her sausage dog.
A sausage dog?
Yeah.
That's cute. And what's the theme of the third one?
So making your own decor for your bedroom. So, and also learning about colour and colour themes.
Great.
So yeah, so whatever.
Fantastic.
You know, it's really good. It's also, you don't have to keep it for yourself. The things that you make, you can give, of course, which is the theme throughout the book.
Awesome.
So, and repurposed furniture's in there and all sorts of things. So
that's so good.
Yeah.
I love how you.
The fourth book. Sorry, you go.
Yeah. Oh, there's a fourth book as well?
Oh, there's a lot more books. Yeah.
I presume that you could just go on and on and on with it. You know, there's so many beautiful. No, I mean, not that you go on and on, but this just that the series could go on and on because there's so many beautiful skills and life lessons and things that you could be teaching. You know, I love that the first book is talking about planning and, you know, yes, it's about a tea party, and I think that's why it resonates with everybody, boy, girl, whatever. You know, you learning how to plan, learning how to, you know, create a space and in your particular theme, and then the whole, like, you know, invitations and the thank you letters. Like, I love that. That's a life skill that people, you know, these children are going to be learning, which is fantastic. And then the dancing one is fabulous as well, you know, teaching all about dance, which is great. And then, as you say, like the color schemes for the, you know, designing your own room, how fantastic, you know, getting that creativity in there and teaching them how to put things together and interior design. Yeah.
And
that's great.
The fourth book covers, it's a day in the life of Tessa. So you're covering, you know, when you wake up, what do you do? Let's do some simple stretching exercises together. Let's talk about healthy breakfasts and yummy breakfasts as well. So there's a both, there's a mix of, you know, and then the morning teas, looking after animals, gardening, technology, which is important, and the dangers of technology. All sorts of things will be in that book as well. And then the fifth book will be careers and, you know, on and on and on and on. So, yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
That's so cool. I love it. It's really cool. And underneath all of that, obviously, there's these life skills, but then underneath the actual, you know, practicalities of the things that you're teaching is the energy of the kindness, compassion, you know, empowerment.
So important.
That was that something that you really wanted to, you know, make as a point of
yeah, I really did. To me, that was really important, especially now when you see the role of technology in some, you know, in the lives of some people and children and youth. Unfortunately, you know, the bad effects are just devastating, and I really think that people need to connect again and have conversations again. And that's why another thing I noticed, like when the children were doing the activities in my books, they were talking, and it wasn't just about what they were making, it was about all sorts of, you know, things. And I was so happy to see that, because it was just like, yes, we're talking again. We're not just like this. Look, you know, it's like we're having relationships with one another, which is super important. And so I wanted to touch on that. And I think, you know, I've been delving into the area of emotional intelligence, which I think is going to be huge in the future. And that's, I've embarked on study, you know, at the moment. And I think just because emotional intelligence, you know, to be in touch with your own emotions and other people's emotions, and learn, you know, verbal cues, non-verbal cues, and recognizing all these things is just so important for social skills in every area of people's lives. So I'll definitely be amping that up in the future books as well.
Yeah, fantastic. That's so great. And there's such a it's so important for people to understand themselves so that they can then interact with other people in a healthy way and in a high vibrational way. You know, and I was listening to Rove McManus was on a comedy show last night, and he was talking about that exact same thing, that we don't communicate, we don't talk with people anymore, we just text them, or we, you know, email them or whatever. And he was talking about how he likes to just interact with people on the street and, you know, talk to people. You know, once upon a time you used to give your camera to somebody to take a photograph of you, and now you can just take a selfie of yourself and you don't have to involve anybody else in that interaction. So yeah, it's really important that these things that you're doing, these activities, are bringing kids together, and the parents probably, because
and the parents and grandparents. I've had feedback from lots of grandparents as well, rather than, you know, sending just emojis to actually say how you're feeling and talk, and, you know, rather than happy face, sad, whatever it is, surprise. They've got everything these days, and it's like, well, that's not really communicating, sending an emoji. So I've had really good feedback from grandparents. Really excellent.
Right.
They love it. They talk about, oh, that's what it used to be like, you know.
Yeah. So, yep. It's we have to be very mindful of what we put into our space, and that whole technology thing is really something to manage, that we have to all be aware of. So what do you think that the books, or what why you've put them together, what is it that you would like for people to get out of, you know, the series of books and, you know, bringing together?
So, yeah, besides what you said, which was life skills, which are really important.
Yeah.
Skills, I believe, that are getting pushed aside or lost or not being used, to awaken talents in children that were there, because that's another good lot of feedback I've had. We didn't know that he or she could do this. We didn't know that she's negotiating and she's delegating, and I'm like, what? So it's really excellent that that part has come alive.
Yeah.
And to encourage children to do that and to learn new talents, just to go for it. So that's been absolutely wonderful. And also another thing, building relationships with one another, long-lasting relationships. Because if you don't talk, how can there be a relationship? If you don't interact, how can there be any sort of relationship if you're just people living in the same house, just walking past each other and not talking? Doing anything together. So that's another huge reason why I want to start the series.
Yeah, that's so good. I think that's fantastic, and it's very necessary. Like I feel like it's needed at the moment. Is that what you sort of felt like you were almost called to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so needed, and people were like, "Oh, that's old. You know, that's gone. Those days are gone." I said, "No, they're not. No, they're not, because I know I've seen the joy and the fun and the conversations that have come out of doing these activities. So it's still really important to keep it alive and keep it going, no matter if it's 2040. You know, I don't care. It's still, people are human.
Yes.
You know? So that's what it comes down to.
People are human.
It's not, you know, with technology, robots, and you know, just like completely. It's we've got emotions and we have talents, and we have
I was just thinking about that whole idea of the third book with the designing your own room. I work sometimes at a gift shop just one day a week, and the lady who runs the gift shop is an interior designer, and she puts things together that I would never have thought of putting together. She puts, you know, patterns together that I would never have put together, you know, and she makes things look in a way that I've never thought about looking, you know, putting cushions and, you know, things in front of a print, and, you know, just the way that she sort of puts together the space is very different to how I would think. And so it's making me look at things in a different way. So I love that whole concept of teaching kids to look at colors and can you put this pattern with this pattern, and you know, even if what I find is really interesting is that you can put the same colors but with different patterns and it still looks good, you know. So you can have your checks and your spots and your zigzags, but if they're all in different colored blue, it actually still looks good, which I would never have thought to do before. So I think that's really fantastic that you're bringing those sorts of lateral creative thinking, if that makes sense. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole idea, to say, well, this is the foundations of it, but let's get creative with it and let's see what you can do, and you know, just go for it basically and see what it looks like. And you know, it's wonderful. It's about encouraging one another too, and not pulling each other down. And I think that's really important too for girls as well, for anyone really, just to encourage people, and stop pulling each other down, and stop being critical, and stop, you know, being jealous, and stop being competitive. And I hate all that. It's just it's horrible. So that's, if I can help it just a tiny bit in that area as well with the books, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and there is that sort of feeling of coming together, you know, that you're bringing the children together to do these activities.
Yes, absolutely, that's right. And I remember when we did the activities, we'd always start with a really excellent, you know, time of sharing with one another before we'd start, and you know, maybe give each other a compliment, maybe talk about, you know, a lovely thing that happened to them this week. So we started talking, and then we got into it as well. So it was really, really wonderful how they worked, that time, how it worked. But it's about coming together. And I know with COVID that can be difficult, in some states and some places, but we can still do Zooms as we're doing now and still communicate and talk with one another and still see each other, even if we can't be in person, which I think is really important. So that is a win for technology there.
Yes.
That way.
Yeah. I think that's the key, isn't it? It's about using it as a tool, which is what it always has been.
Yes.
But not letting it overtake you in terms of, you know, spending too much time on it, or, you know, having that sort of addictive need to check your messages and how many likes you have on your posts and things like that. But the underlying thing, I guess, for you too would be around the bullying and the, you know, that sort of having the distance can sometimes make people more brave than they actually are, and brave is perhaps not the right word, but they will say things that are not very nice because they don't have to see you face to face.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's horrible. I hate bullying. I was involved in bullying programs at university, and it's the thing is, bullying is all ages, all across all places, everywhere, in every walk of life, which is a real shame. So it's just going to take a group effort, so to speak, to make the change, because I think some people think, oh, what's not happening to me, so I'm not interested. It's not happening to me. It doesn't affect me. So, well, actually, we're here on this planet together, and we should all make an effort to, stop bullying. I can't stand it. I hate it. It's so destroying for people. And my books are the opposite of that. My books promote kind words, compliments, encouraging, giving, forgiving, so yeah, I'm all for anti-bullying, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's great. So the what's next is obviously the 2 new books will be coming into your space, but you have some news from just this week. There was something really cool that happened to you that we should share, really, about an award.
Yes, I entered the Mumpreneur Awards. It was a new category. It was for Queensland author. And so I won silver. I won second in the Queensland author, which I'm just absolutely thrilled about. Yes, and third in the People's Choice for education for my books. So again, it was just brilliant that people voted for me, and I came third, and I was just blown away that those 2 awards were given to me. I'm just so honoured, and met so many beautiful other women. Amazing things that women are doing. I had no idea that they were doing, and I was like, these ideas are fantastic, like amazing. So it's been wonderful to see what everybody does, because unless you follow them or find them or see them on the news, or you wouldn't, I don't know another way that you would hear about what they're doing. But through the Mumpreneur Awards, it's just like, it's like, wow, they're fantastic, So yeah, it's been excellent, really good.
Very inspiring when you're interacting with women, other authors, and people who are sort of movers and shakers.
Oh, absolutely. Really keeps you going, and encourages in you, and it's fantastic. No, there's so many women and people out there that are doing amazing things that are good, rather than pulling down. They're building up and helping people, which is awesome.
Fantastic. That's so great. That's so good. So when would we expect the next couple of books? Are we sort of looking at this year, or are they sort of going to be next year now?
I would say that the book launch will be early February, for my 3rd book, and the 4th book next year, hopefully as well, later in the year. And I'll just keep going. And I have a fashion line for Tessa that I've started to sketch. Because it helps. I used to be a graphic artist way back. So that helps, but I'm not an illustrator. And also merchandise, like necklaces and jewelry, perhaps bags. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. And also a Tessa doll. So we're looking into that, and
great.
Keep going. And
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yay! Oh, we lost you.
Oh,
there you are. just a little at the end. That's all right. You're still there. So I guess where can we find you is the last important question. So where can we find the books? Where can we find you to follow your journey?
Yeah, so I have a website. So just the 3 W's and tessas.com.au. So Tessas with an S on the end, all lowercase.com.au. And there's also games for girls to play on there, templates from the books, colouring in activities, find the cupcakes, find the teacups, find the roses, all sorts of things that girls can pop on and have a look. All my news and events are on there, where I'll be next and what's happening. Blogs are on there. And on the topics that I've talked about today with you, and so they can definitely go in and have a look and have some fun. And
fantastic, that's great. And can you get the 2 books as a set? Like, can you sort of get the 2 books as a set, or are they individual?
They're individual, but I think when the 3rd one comes out, they'll be offered as a set then.
They will. Okay.
3. Yeah. So we're currently working on that as well with publishing. So
that's great. And I love the idea of of a doll as well, because I love those books that have, like, you know, the green sheep. Have you seen the green sheep?
No.
There's a book called The Green Sheep, and it's got this furry green sheep that goes with it, and it's so cute. And there's lots of different people who are doing similar sort of thing where they have the, you know, the animal that goes with the, like the wonky donkey, and you know.
I love all that. I love that kind of stuff. And I used to love getting a necklace or a bracelet in the book or something. Yeah,
that's fantastic. You know, just a little something that goes with it that's sort of that you can wear all the time or take with you all the time. That's such a great idea.
Well, I've got bookmarks and writing paper that I send to girls already when they buy the books. And stickers. So we've got the stickers, bookmarks, and writing paper, and it's all Tessa branded. So I pop that in with all the books too. So.
That's great. I love it. I think it's a fabulous concept, and I love the fact that it's really coming from that place of empowerment and that real heart space of kindness as well. And the fact that it would be a great present for any girl or boy that you have in your family, just to, you know, give them that gift of compassion and loving themselves. So thank you so much for joining me, Jacqui. It's really a pleasure to have a chat to you, and I look forward to seeing the new books as well. So
thank you so much for having me, Pip. I really appreciate it.
No worries. It was lovely to have you here. So we'll see you very soon. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the Indie Author Series.